All right, we are here with international comedian Gordon Southern. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you, Tyler.
So, this isn't your first trip here in New Zealand, is it?
I came to New Zealand 3 years on the bounce, 2012, 2013, 2014. Did the Classic, did the Convoy, I think it's called here. Had a really good time. And then I've had a couple of years off to make my new show, Extra Super Special, funny. That's
Nice.
why I took 2 years off.
Great. So, how are you finding it this time around?
I'm loving it. I've got a show that I'm really proud of that I've taken to Edinburgh and all the Australian festivals. And it's nice to come back, places like the Classic and the Q, lots of the same faces, so you feel like you've never really been away.
Cool. So, bro, how did we miss him? Gordon Sutton. He's been here all these times and stuff, and we've been doing
School, I think, in 2014, weren't you?
Yeah.
I know, but we were still breaking the rules and sneaking out of school to interview people.
Yeah, I remember I saw Will Anderson when I was 13, 14 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he liked that because I think he had to tone down his
He had
material.
to change his material if you're there going, hello, I'm 13. Please corrupt my innocence.
So, how did you get into comedy?
Oh my goodness! Much like you guys, I started off in radio, BBC Radio 4. I wrote jokes, and then sketches, and me and my friends did a sketch show. Excuse me, for about 4 years on BBC Radio 4, and then off the back of that, I started to experiment and dabble in stand-up. Found out that was what I really loved.
But like, you know, in those earlier years, you know, trying to make a name for yourself, you may have been doing something else, you know, part-time, you know, to keep yourself financially going, and then until you sort of broke through full-time, did you have any other job that you were doing sort of beforehand as you were experimenting?
I was really lucky that my friends and I, right after university, were invited down to London to work at BBC4 Radio. So although it wasn't a living by any stretch of the imagination, we did it full-time. So I've kind of for 20 years been a full-time comedian or comedy writer, you know, so always staying within the orbit of the world of comedy. So yeah, very lucky in that respect.
So, who do you try out your new material on?
Twitter, they get the short jokes, and when I'm in London, I've got a few of my comedy friends live near me in South London, and it is that, you know, unspoken understanding that, hey, do you want to go out for a coffee? And by that we mean we're going to try jokes out on each other. So you buy them the coffee, and that buys their ears for 20 minutes, and they listen, and you work up the jokes that way.
So what do you reckon your best ever comeback joke to sort of a Twitter or Facebook or any online social media criticism?
Oh, do you know what? Do not feed the trolls. If someone's, I mean, it's very rare that I get criticism online because I don't have enough followers. But yeah, I would never rise to someone having a go at me online because you can't tell from the typeface how seriously mentally ill someone might be.
I mean, just I'm not meaning like sort of an aggressive comeback, but you know, just have a laugh about it or something like that. When someone said what's the name of the guy, musician that was on Top Gear?
James Blunt.
James Blunt, yeah. Like why do you only have 1,000 or like 300 followers or something on Twitter? Isn't that so few? And he said Jesus only needed 12. You know, have a laugh about it. You know, that kind of thing. You know, so
there's a little bit of a bit of badinage and banter backstage, but you know that stays backstage. On stage, in terms of put downs, I try not to use prepared ones. I'll try and just spontaneously deal with what's happening in the moment and create something new. Because there are great old heckle put downs that you can use, but that's cheating.
cheesy and old-fashioned. Yeah, agreed.
So, because James Blunt does a good job and he's a musician, you being an actual professional comedian, do you think you'd be able to do a better job if, like, people tweeted you and you'd be able to fire back, like, really sharp? What do you think?
No, but I reckon I'm a far better musician than James Blunt.
Everyone is. So, where do you get your inspiration from for your comedy?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've got two shows on the go at the minute. So the show that I did in Australia was very much based on my fascination with the news and with history, particularly modern history. I used to work on a show called QI, which I think you might get here. When Stephen Fry used to host it, I was part. I wasn't on it. I was part of the backstage team, and I loved it. And I found out that doing comedy that also has a sort of informative or educational content, that just really appeals to me and hopefully to audiences. The show that I'm doing here in New Zealand is based on my family life. So some childhood experiences, and then reflecting on those as an adult, and just working out what it means to be in a family. So that's what the show, long story short, is about. So I'm inspired by events and people.
So how long do you have to be in the country for? How long do you have to be in the country for before you like really get to localize your material?
I will. When I first came to Australia and New Zealand, I read about them before I got here, and then turned up and said, "Is this all true?" Because I think if you can do a good local joke straight off the bat, people just relax, go, "Oh, he knows what he's doing." So I have some silly, cheeky jokes about, just for this tour, Hamilton and Devonport and Rotorua, for a bit of local.
Now, I've just come from Devonport, so what's your Devonport joke?
I can't do it on the radio; it's too rude. But it's implying that maybe Devonport is a area full of nouveau riche people. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Bit of new money floating around there. Okay, good.
But it is, keep in mind, also full of the Navy. So, yeah.
Is that where you keep both your ships? Okay, cool.
So make sure you don't offend anyone but the Navy or something like that. Yeah, because they'll probably find that.
I'll take my chances.
Nothing wrong with that. I was just joking.
When I'm on dry land, so I'll just stay out the water.
You absolutely have a laugh about the Navy. That's all it is. Have a joke, have a laugh about it. Don't take it seriously. Good on you.
So do you have a go-to joke?
I don't really. You said you were going to ask me that question. If people ask me to tell them a joke, I might tell an old pub joke. I'll do the old pub joke. Shall I do that? Yep. That'd be a nice way to wrap this up. So, my favourite old pub joke. There's a door-to-door salesman. He gets to the last house on the street. It's a nice house, Devonport style. Gravel driveway, big oak door. He knocks on the door. The door is answered by a 10-year-old boy wearing a pink fedora hat. In one hand he has a glass of brandy, in the other hand a Cuban cigar. And the salesman goes, "Oh, goodness me. Hello, young man. Is your mother at home?" And the kid says, "What does it f***ing look like?"
Oh, that's awesome. That is, yeah, exactly.
Pub joke. Oh, and that's the timer.
Well, thanks for your time.
That's fun. Yeah.
What's that, Tylor and Luke? You want to know where my show is? Oh, okay then. It's in Auckland at the Q Theatre at 7 p.m. this Saturday. And then next week, which is May the 9th to 14th, I believe, or 13th, it is on in Wellington at the Cavern Club. Why don't I just read my own flyer? May the 9th to the 13th at 8:45 in the Cavern Club, Wellington. Get your tickets fast, people.
Tylor and Luke.